he said, so I said, that's the situation. We all intend to go to Israel and to build up the country. He said, I can't make you out, you people.
You'd heard of Israel?
What?
Had you heard of Israel?
Yeah, I suppose I did.
What was he, a real typical British English farmer?
Yeah,
a yokel.
Typical English farmer, yes.
A yokel?
No, he wasn't a yokel, but and his father also worked, and he suffered a lot with arthritis, the old man. But he used to go on with a horse, and they used to turn over the grass to dry. But
well, they didn't have tractors. Didn't have tractors?
You had a tractor, yeah, but they used to work with horses. On the farm, we also worked with horses.
It was difficult, that. It was very difficult.
No, it was very enjoyable with horses.
But isn't it difficult to keep the machresha? It's heavy,
we didn't do machresha. We never did. We did with car. Those days were over.
So what did you do with the horse?
Horses, we did menial work, schlepping things and taking things, and where we used to do easier things. We never did anything which was really heavy, like ploughing and sowing and things like that with horses. But I remember when I went to one of the an incident which happened. I was sent for quite far away, actually, with a horse and cart. For some reason or other, I don't know what I was doing. It was a terribly cold day.
This was in Thaxted?
In Thaxted. And there was a lot of ice on the road. And it was coming out. And in order to get home back to the farm, we had to go on the main road. And he couldn't go because the horseshoes were slipping every time it went from the field to the ground. He couldn't grip.
And you had a cart with you, or just the horse?
The cart.
Yeah.
And I knew they were supposed to go for dinner. Anyway, eventually I managed to get the horse, to schlep the horse onto the main road, and I got home, and I got home pretty late. And they'd forgotten, well, once they'd forgotten about me, but the food was all cold and I was in a real state. So I come into the Chadar Ochel. So Edith Icefeld, she was the one in charge of the. Is
that the story with Go to Hell?
That's right.
You told me the last one.
I said, look, I'm Edith. I said, I'm hungry and I'm tired and I had a bad day. I had a bad morning. So she said, well, this is what there is left, and it was like leather. It was absolutely leather. So I couldn't cut it. I said, what's going on here? I said, I come home and nothing to eat. And I felt rather, and I didn't think now, I felt a rachmanus on them because they couldn't keep it. So when she went into the kitchen, she said to the other girls, why doesn't David Taylor go to hell? And I mentioned that to her when she was sitting Shiva for her husband. We went to La Vie, and she said she doesn't remember it. I said, well, I do. So I learned, it was very enjoyable. I learned a lot with music. I enjoyed music a lot.
Now, I'm talking about now, when you're in Hachshara, so your main reason that you wanted to go to Israel, yeah?
That was
what was the plan?
I went from Dockavie because I knew that if I'd go to Thaxted, I'd learn more about agriculture, which I did. I mean, I was on the Alice Chalmers. That was a very big tractor which I was responsible for. I used to do ploughing, we used to do sowing, building hayricks.
And but the main gearing of Bnei Akiva was to go to Kibbutz.
Yes, well, after Bnei Akiva you go into Bachad. Now there was Torah Valvoda, which were considered the town chevra that go to Israel, and we were the staunch chalutzim, you know. So we were in Bachad, and then we went to the farm.
What percentage went to Israel in the end from the farm?
Oh, most of them.
Most of them?
Yes.
Then, at that time they went?
No, we couldn't, because there was no, the British wouldn't allow Aliyah at the time.
Well, this was before the state?
Yeah, well, the state was
48.
proclaimed in 48.
No.
Well, I was 19 at the time.
Well,
just
49.
Just after the state was proclaimed, but there was still a very big problem of Aliyah. when at that time they were sending people to various kibbutzim. The situation was very bad at the time.
Where, in Israel?
In Israel.
Yeah.
And a lot of them went to various kibbutzim which were, unfortunately, they were not really truly geared for Olim Chadashim, because they gave them the 10 menial tasks, because a lot of them were learnt on Hachshara, how to do everything. But all had some very, very intelligent girls who left teaching and they came on Hachshara. And when they went there, they were for about 6 or 7 months just hanging up washing. And a lot of them left because of it, because they weren't, psychologically, they didn't know how to deal with them, to explain to them, because the older ones, they'd suffered a lot. And so the menial tasks they gave to new people, like that's a natural thing to do. But they felt insulted, and quite a number of them left because of that.
Well, they came back to England?
No, they went to towns. Went to towns.
Oh.
Yeah, but a lot of them.
Lavi, what was Lavi? Lavi was
That was in 1949. They started, and the whole basis of they made a film of Lavi, the beginning of Lavi, and how they spoke about it, and because there was nothing else but rocks there, and the first year they had to just lift up the rocks.
These are your chevra.
Yeah, they
were the
them
ones.
came before me. A lot of them I didn't know. Mum knew them because she went before.
How long was Mum before on Thaxted?
She went straight to Thaxted.
I know, but how long was she before you came?
About a year, I should think. Something like that. No, 6
and
months.
during that year, all the time, there were people going on Aliyah.
Yeah.
What did Mum and Grandma and Granddad feel about you going to Israel?
Oh, they were very going to Israel. Going
didn't even
to
talk to
I was
them
bad
about
enough
it.
because I used to work for Dad in the shop, and he had high hopes because Harold didn't go into tailoring and Manny didn't go into tailoring, so he thought I would go with him, and he had grandiose ideas. No,
but in going to Israel, they didn't even talk to them about the New Year intentions.
They knew I was very keen on Hachshara. My whole life at that time was B'nai Akiva. I went to learn cutting, cutting out clothes and so on. I went to a technical school there, and Dad helped me also. But my heart, I loved tailoring. I did because it was something creative, and I love things which are creative. That's why I didn't like shechita, and I liked writing. Anything which is creative.
So you don't know what they said about you for going to Israel or not? Or
the private conversation I didn't know. They were by going to Israel. I was married already.
No, I'm talking about before. You wanted to go as a single to Israel.
They were very much against it, and Dad would not speak to me on that day when I left. And
no, but did they know that the intention of going to Hachshara was eventually going to Israel?
I don't know. I left home.
You left home as well.
I was never the type of person who was affected by leaving. Maybe it's a sort of selfish idea. I was not concerned with their feelings. I don't know if youngsters are like that, concerned about the feelings of parents. But it didn't interest me at all, the leaving. I had no conscience about it. The only time I had a conscience when I went to Israel. Yeah. That's the only time that I felt that I let my parents down.
Then you're already older?
Yes, and I let my parents down. But there was a way of looking at it. There was a way of looking at it that, am I going to stay there until they die? Yeah. And that was a very bad thought. That was a very bad thought. Yeah. So we had to go, and I had a good job in shitted and teaching. I made a living. I want to put it that way. I didn't make a fortune, but I made a living. We lived nicely. We were never short of food and things like that. But they were able to come down and visit. We visited, as you know, we visited them about twice, or sometimes 3 times a year, and it was very good. And when we decided to go to Israel, they were very upset. They were very upset. But
when you were a teenager, so you didn't wasn't an issue then. Yeah, that's what you're saying. It wasn't an issue then when you were a teenager if to leave home or not to leave home. Okay, so
Not at all.
when you went to Thaxted, yeah, how did you get on there with the chivra? Was it okay?
I was all right.
Yeah. You made friends there, or you don't bother making friends?
Well, I'm not the type of make friends. I've never been like.
Yeah.
I've never. I got on all right with people on the whole. I mean.
Well, and the Frumkeit there, how's the?
It was okay.
You got on there?
It was okay. There were a lot of problems there. It was, because it was like Shabbos with with the cow. He had a goy, but he couldn't do everything himself. So
Who's the paskin there for you?
we didn't have a role.
So what did you do if you had questions? What?
There were no questions.
You're not allowed to ask questions.
Ask a question. That's why I caused a lot of problems there.
You started asking questions.
No, I didn't say this is not right and that is not right. And no. Well, we've got to prepare ourselves for Israel. In Israel, no goyim and so on, the usual thing. I said, we've got goyim. So I got into hot water actually, a few times. One of them was when Rabbi Yakovovitz came, and to give a talk. It was on what was it down? It was a special day we had for the farm. We invited a lot of important people. So Rabbi Yakovovitz, we had Rav Zev Gold came. Very important people came down from Brodetsky. We had the ambassador came down. Anyway. So when Rabbi Yakovovitz down, I said, I'd like to have a word with you. Now, he was the chief rabbi of England.
Yeah. Then? No.
He was chief rabbi of
Jews
Ireland,
College, wasn't it?
I think Ireland.
Oh.
He was chief rabbi of Ireland, if I'm not mistaken. He became chief rabbi.
Afterwards he became of England. Yeah.
No, I think he was chief rabbi of England, if I'm not sure at that time. I think he was chief rabbi of England, and after him came Rabbi,
Brody was then.
Brody. No, I think he was, Jakovovitz was just then, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, he came down, and I told him the problems of the cowshed.
On Shabbos?
On Shabbos. And, what to do, what not to do, the problem. So I said, well, listen, he says, there's a lot of meaning of schita. It was washing the udders of the cows and the original. There's a lot of this. Anyway, so he said, I'll have a word with
the boss.
With
he was the boss. He was the maskir.
Yeah. No, he was in charge of Menahel.
Yeah.
And he was no fool. He was a very clever fellow, and he used to give shiurim on Shabbos and on Parshat HaShavua. And he was no fool. He was very clever. But
he was older than you.
Oh yeah. Yes. Rather young, handsome fellow. Very, very typical. Well, a lot of the German Jews came from Poland, and he was actually a baker. When he had his, I think when in Germany, I think he was his father had a baking, and he had Mammy. Lots of stories about him. Mam wanted to know how to make challah, the geflachte challah. So she went into the office and said, come into the kitchen. He said, I want you to show me how to make the challahs. No problem. Comes in, gets the dough. Finished. He said, just wait a minute, do it a bit slower. I can't. He was a very good. Anyway, so he went bananas when Rabbi Yakovovitz said, "Why you got to involve him?" I said, "Well, it's a matter of halacha." I said, "You've no right to interfere with this kind of." Anyway, but the fact is, you had to change.
Yeah, mate, you stood on your own.
Oh yeah.
Well, so what did Rabbi suffer?
I used to write to him.
Well, so what did he say about what's going on?
Well, he used to write to me. I used to ask him the questions. He never came down. I mean, he never saw. But whenever the questions I asked him about, he would say, I've got all his letters actually.
He was okay, but he sort of.
He was very upset when I left. Also.
He was also upset.
Yeah. But when I was there learning in the yeshiva with him, I was the only Talmud there, and I got on very, very well.
Did he understand the problems of what's going on there, or he said, well, he should
I
leave?
explained to him. No, I explained to him the situation of what.
He was positive about it. He was positive about, you know.
Oh yeah. I mean, there was the interesting thing about. To the extent that when I came to the farm, a mum wrote to a friend of hers, and I don't know, she was said, David Taylor has come to the farm and so far so good. I used to complain a lot. Excuse me. Anyway, so what transpired? No, it was on the sukkahs. Now being older, I would be Bill. You know, when you were younger, you became black and white. There's no
fight,
grey. As what's his name used to say, Mayor Robinson. He used to say, I know when we used to have Asifot Klaliyot. So he once said, I know there's such a thing as black and white, but there's something here which is dirty grey. He used to want a wonderful explanation. Anyway, so there was a problem of sukkahs. Now, I know one thing, you know one thing, and Shemini Atzeres, you eat in a sukkah. Eat in a sukkah. Ashkenazim eat in a sukkah.
But you just make kiddush.
No, you eat in the sukkah. The Gra was very makpid on it. But you don't make a bracha, but you eat in the sukkah.
Yeah.
Now
that's what we used to do in England?
The Hasidim...
That's what we used to do in England?
Yeah. But the Hasidim make Kiddush, and that's it. So I said, no, we're going into eating the sukkah. There was a whole argument with Reimann. He said, no, we just make Kiddush, we're not... So with Ashkenazim, he said, well, not Ashkenazim. Anyway, so there was a big backlash.
What, there were the people of Hasidic descent? No, I thought they were all Yekkers.
No, but I told you about the Yekkers. A lot of the Yekkers were from Polish expat.
Yeah.
But there were Yekkers.
And they had their from home.
Cully was, that's the custom.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they didn't know what to do. The poor girls in the didn't know what to arrange. Anyway, so just before the meal, it poured down. So he said, I told you what to do. It was interesting. Napoleon came down. Napoleon was the Rav of the Machasike Adas, Talmid Chacham, a big scholar. And I asked him to give me a share. He was very, very good. He was because they came down. A lot of them came down for the Shmona Matzah. Each one had their particular place where to put the...
Yeah, the shkocha, they used to say mashgichim, or
they
relied on you?
No, they used to come down, and they used to decide where to put the wheat. And
who used to do the ktsira though? They used to be with you when you did the ktsira?
Sometimes they used to come down, and he used to said the tractor driver said L'shem mitzvahs matzah mishmura. Anyway. So he came down. Quite a lot of them came down. Rabbonim from the and he was very nice. I said, look, if you know.
So what did they do in Goyim? If they say the Ketzira has to be the Shem Matzah Sitzah.
We used to do.
I know, but they used to, before you had the farm, so they used to go to Goyim. So who used to do it then?
I don't know. I only know.
It's interesting that. I don't believe there are any Jewish farmers.
Most probably the person was there, you know.
Used to say it instead.
Maybe. I don't know what the arrangement was. I don't know there's a necessity for it personally.
So you used to have enough wheat for all the matzah? Well, there weren't many people who were matzah, I suppose.
It was almost a big problem because there was a lot of rain. There was a lot of to put it in places in the barns were not hermetic against water.
Yeah.
And sometimes they
used to get ruined. So what happened?
Well, they used to hand it over to the Bezdin. Yeah. The ones that were not 100% kosher, they used to go to the Bezdin. Or if they were short, they used to take for the Bezdin and give them. You see, that was the seeming hypocrisy which we found. That
the mashgichim used to do, the rabbonim used to do.
the Adlabavitch,
Yeah.
they come down, they say that where Kadasi is no good, we've got to have it here.
Yeah.
Kadasi says the Bezdin is no good, we've got to have it here. For
So why didn't they straight away take it to do, to make it into Kemach?
They couldn't. It was quite a long time before. So we used to keep it. So
And you used to have nylon then? Where did you used to
No,
keep
it used
it?
to be in sacks.
Sacks, how could you keep it from the wet?
That was a problem.
Was
Keeping
it?
it. We used to go and cover it up, I don't know, because of the heat also had its effect. Anyway, so sometimes they used to be short. So they used to take from one another, you know. But if that is no good, Nan used to go, we should go there. If that is no good, but there was how can you take from another anyway? So they made the arrangements amongst themselves, but we were the onlookers, you see, we used to see. Anyway, that was, it's interesting.
So how long were you there for in Achshar?
I personally thought it to me afterwards was a waste of time because I wasn't going into farming. I said I could have been in the yeshiva, I could have learned more.
In
But
hindsight,
everyone said, "Well,
in hindsight, was it worth it?
I don't know. I mean, it was an interesting period in my life. I mean, look, for a lot of people.
How long were you there for?
I was from 49 52.
3 years.
When I got married. Yeah.
How did you feel that it built you, your personality?
Well, that's what everybody thinks said. I didn't have that feeling somehow. I don't know why. Most probably it did. It had its great influence on me. But what particularly those people who, like Mem, who were orphans, and they came on Ashara, their full potential.
Hatzalah for them.
It wasn't only Hatzalah, but they were able to, because a lot of them were very clever. They come from wonderful families, and they were sent away from Germany. You know, the elite. They were elite, and they had tremendous potential. The mere fact that we were only youngsters. The whole movement was based on people who came from Germany, Poland, and they started the movement. They were only in their 20s, early 20s, and they made branches all over the country. It shows what great potential they had. They were interested in bringing up people, religious people, and the Habonim also, and the Hashem Hatzair. I mean, it's remarkable when you think of it, how the country was built up. And look, Ma'am was not capable of, if she'd have stayed at home, in Kagan's, as good as they were to her, her full potential could not be expressed. And when she came to the farm, there she was flowered and blossomed forth. And you know, in culture and in everything. And then she was although she went to Beis Yaakov, where she learned, but it was too confined for her, Tsar. And then she went to Manchester, where they learned, before they went on Aliyah, a lot of them went to Manchester for 3 months to study, to learn. But I didn't go.
What, Mum went there?
Yes.
Why?
To study.
But she said that, well, they used to do that before they used to go on Aliyah. Where she was...
Of course, so we were both of them supposed to go on Aliyah.
When was this? Before you got married?
Yeah.
So what happened?
We got married.
So why did you go?
Well, she said, I'm not going on Aliyah, because they said I should learn for a year. I said I'd like to learn in the
Where were you going to go, by the way?
I don't know. I was going to Ponevezh. I thought of Ponevezh. I only knew Ponevezh.
No, where were you going to go? Where did you want to build your life? After you got married, you met Mum, so you decided to get married, so you were going to go on Aliyah. You were going to go kibbutz. You intended to go to a kibbutz?
When we got married, we decided against it.
Against going to a kibbutz? Why? You found it's not for you?
Because it wasn't for me, no.
Yeah.
I didn't. I wanted to be free. I didn't want to be told what to do. Anyway, so if my children wanted to go to university or yeshiva, I decided.
Yeah, but that was later. I'm talking about before you got married. Your plans were to go to a kibbutz, and then you said you want to go to learn. So
and then I said to them, we said, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
They said to me. It's interesting that was Mina Shemaim, I never used to ask anybody. I said, I'd love to learn in yeshiva. I said, where do you want to learn? I said, well, I'll go, whenever I go to Eretz Yisrael, I go to yeshiva first for a year or so. What do you want to learn in yeshiva? Stay here and go. We've got Kesher with Eitz Chaim in London. So I said, oh, that would be lovely. So Mum was already buying things for going on Aliyah. So I said, well, I'll be staying. He said, well,
this was after you got married?
No, before.
This was already before you got married?
We were friendly, we were, you know.
Yeah.
So she said...
by the way, how did the Kagans see the mum?
Nothing, no, they accepted, I mean...
whatever she decided?
Whatever she decided.
Yeah, so...
she had to go, look, you see, the problem with the Kagans was they wouldn't take any money from her when she worked.
Yeah.
And they looked after her and so on. She felt awkward about it. So the only way of solving that problem was to go on Hakshara.
Yeah.
You know, if she'd go and live somewhere else, it will be a sort of a patching point. So she said, well, she'll go, because she used to go to Bnei Akiva in Kaysnov Road. So, in that case, if it's a matter of ideology, then of course, it's all right. So she said she was going on Aliyah, and I told her that, you know, I'll be staying here. She said, well, we're off. We break off because I'm not waiting. I'm not going to stay. I'm going to Aliyah and waiting for you, and then you may find somebody else, and then it'll be off. So it's one way or the other.
So she was going to go as a Rebecca. Mum was going to go single.
If we wouldn't have been friendly. Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
But it was due to our connection.
Yeah.
So she said, no, then in that case we're going to get married and we'll stay here in England until you finish the learning.
Yeah.
And then we'll go on Aliyah, but it broke up because I was staying in the Bayit whilst during that period, and then they said they're closing the Bayit for some reason, and then I've got to go to Manchester. I'm not going to Manchester. I said, I'm learning all right. I've got in Eitz Chaim. So we decided to go on our own.
So when I want about Eitz Chaim, so you learned in Eitz Chaim all the time you were in the Bayit?
Yes.
How long was that for?
A year, about a year or so.
A year you learned there, yeah. And what was it like there in the yeshiva?
I loved it.
Was it a big yeshiva?
No, it wasn't. It was in the old days, but it was there were about 8 or 9 in the Shia.
How many in the whole yeshiva?
I don't know. There were Rav Greenspan used to give a Shia for the top Shia. Jasmine was there.
Where was it? Where was the yeshiva?
In the East End. And
there were Bochrim there also?
Most of the Shachtim learned.
The Bochrim, it was mainly for Bochrim.
Yeah. Most of all the Shachtim learned in Eitz Chaim. All the Shachtim in London, of the English type, they were all learned in Eitz Chaim. There was Rav Lapian used to be there. The Rosh Yeshiva was Rav Green. I didn't see him.
Greenspan?
There was
another
person. And then there was Rav Greenspan was there when I was there. There was Rav Lapian was there. Then he went to Eretz Yisrael. He had gone already. And Rav Orderman, he was there at the time. And Rav Halprin, who taught me, he was wonderful. And he was a great help to me actually, because I was rather distraught, because I was on still on the papers. I was in the yeshiva in Leeds. Yeah. And when I got married, so I didn't discontinued, and then I had to call up papers to go into the army. And a lot of the Shachtim got off, but I don't know why. I went to the chief rabbinate, and they weren't very helpful. I said, I'm married, I've got a child. He said, no. He said, we can't do anything for you. And for other Shachtim, they did. I don't